I made a carousel about how I had paid like over $1 million in taxes. I specifically said like, I'm not rich and yet I'm being taxed like a rich person. And that really bothered people because they're like, you are so out of touch. Like you are rich, you are paying. How can you say you're not rich when you're paying $1 million in taxes? Like that automatically makes you rich. And I do see their point, but I would also argue that like, I'm allowed to not think I'm rich because from where I want to be to, I don't feel it genuinely. Like I don't think I'm rich. I think I'm very blessed. I think I'm fortunate. But to me, being rich is I can find it, A, never have to work again, which I'm not in that position right now. B, I've provided for generations. Like that's being rich feels like to me, and I'm not there yet. Their first job, they probably felt rich with that. And now, you know, there's a gap. So we all experience gaps in what we used to think was a lot of money and what we think is a lot of money now.
I'm so happy to have you in my space. I'm so happy to have you on my show. You came into my Explore page a year ago.
Doing my job then.
Girl, you are. You've been raising the ranks.
Thank you.
So, I know your story. I'm so excited to talk to you. I'm so impressed by what you've built. I actually love what you just said about that carousel because it really speaks to how grounded you are. And like it's all about vantage point perspective. And it's important to always have like a beginner's mind, stay hungry and to continue to have ambition for more. There's nothing wrong with that. That's like the spiritual hustler movement's mission, where you just started from the bottom, girl.
Truly, like the negative. Started. What's below the bottom? Because that's where I started.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
And I'd love to actually go back because you're making what, $25 million a year? Or 15? Something crazy. Like what's the number?
Yeah. I mean, right now our average is around $900,000 a month. We've had $1 million months, but our average right now is $900,000 a month. I'm this close to doing that. But I think the remarkable thing is how we're delivering that. It's all in a low ticket, like it's $27 products.
I know. I want to dig into I want to dig into the model. I have so many questions for you. I want to really use this episode actually to get super granular around how you're building it.
I like talking numbers.
I know you do. And I love talking about like science and mechanics and systems and strategy and psychology and productization. We'll get into all of that. But what I really would love for everyone listening to go back to the year you started your business, you made $60.
Yeah. Yep.
And
that's right.
now
2013.
now you're a multi-8-figure business. So take me back, take us all back. What were you doing? Who were you? And then let's take people up into the now. Let's like do a TLDR version of it, but let's tell your story. I'm really fascinated.
Well, I'm excited for the opportunity to share it. I think my story, and at the time it's hard, right? A whole year of working, you've got $63 to show for it. That was a really hard year. And then the second year, I only made $350. So it took me 2 years to make like $400.
You were working a side job, I imagine.
I was in college. I was working a full time. So I was in college working essentially what was a full time job between the several. I had like 3 little part time jobs that ended up being about 40 hours a week, and I was trying to get this business off the ground. So I really didn't have a life at all in college, and at the time, that's so frustrating. That's so discouraging. But now I'm so glad that I only made like $60 in my first year, because if I have a student that comes to me and says, it's been 90 days and I've only done 3 sales and I've only made $300 in my first 3 months. I'm like, do you understand that like I would have given anything for the opportunity to make 3 sales in a 3-month period?
Seriously.
You made like 10 times more than I did in my first year. And so it's such a good reminder to them like, hey, I made $63 in my first year, $350 in my second year, $8,000 in my third year, right? So that's 3 years where I really wasn't making significant amount of money. And meanwhile, everyone's always like, oh, I had my first $10,000 month. I had my first $30,000. Like you see the big numbers and then you compare them to your reality. And I tell them, I'm like, look, I'm not a fast learner. If anything, I'm a slow bloomer. Like it took me a long time to figure this out. And so I actually do mean it when I say that if I can figure it out, anyone can, because I'm not that good at tech. I don't think I'm that smart, but the one thing that I have that I think I do better than anyone else is consistency and perseverance. Like I have such a love for solving problems. I am a workhorse, and you can't beat that. And so I think that it's the skills that I have are developable skills. Anyone can do it. Anyone can learn the muscle of perseverance and learn the muscle of consistency. And that's encouraging. That's good. Thank God I didn't have a huge year, because people would have used that as an excuse to not go for what they want in life.
I'm obsessed. So $8,000 a year you were doing, you went into coaching more mid-high ticket at first.
Yes.
And now you're doing all exclusively low ticket, which is phenomenal and fascinating. We'll get to that. But talk to me about how the business started to like kick and take off and walk us through the evolution into high ticket and then out of high ticket?
Yeah. So there was basically 3 stages of my business. I started off as a freelance graphic designer, and that's what I was doing in 2013, 2014, pretty much all the way up until like 2016 or 2017. I was just literally designing logos, designing websites. And that was phenomenal. I learned sales skills. I learned delivery skills. I learned client relation skills. And I got super good at sales and marketing, especially marketing. And it got to the point where people were paying, I had such a long wait list for me to design people's logos.
It was just you. You were one woman shop.
Me. Yeah, just me. And people would pay me in February and wait all the way until November to actually get their logos and websites designed. And so I had this like cult fans of people who needed to have their logo designed by Maria Wendt. And so my other like artist friends, my other graphic designer friends came to me and they're like, what are you doing? How do you have such a wait list? What are you doing right? So I started showing my graphic designer friends out of college or just like in the space what I was doing to get clients. And then they sent their friends, and then they sent their friends. And about a year after that, I looked up and I realized I had more people wanting me to show them how to get clients, how to like make money in their businesses than I did actually designing logos, which was remarkable because I had such a lot of people wanting me to design their logos. And so I think it was around like 2018 is when I fully pivoted into like just, hey, here's how to get clients. And I did that. And that was like $2,500 for like 3 months of one-on-one calls was what I did for a while. And then eventually I had to pivot to group coaching because I had so many people wanting to do that.
And this was your network that then expanded into like their network?
Yeah, it was Facebook and word of mouth. Like it was nothing strategic. Like I wasn't that savvy. Like what we've got going on now versus what we had then is
it was all like reactive and organic.
Yeah, very, very, very word of mouth. They sent me people. And then just I did do organic marketing in Facebook groups. And then eventually I was like, okay, I got to charge more. So that's when I started selling more high ticket stuff. I eventually worked up to selling $72,000 coaching packages.
Wow.
And it was good. I'm good at selling. Like I can sell anything. But I also felt very responsible for charge. Like if I'm going to charge $72,000, like that's a lot of money. I really want to do a good job delivering that. And so it got to be a lot of self-imposed pressure. Like I put that pressure on myself. And then I had my daughter and I was like, I'm sick of being on Zoom calls and I'm sick of her being in a daycare. Like that's what I had chosen to do at the time. This was 2022 to 2023. And I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something low ticket. And all my mentors said, you can't do that. You can't have a 7-figure business.
Why did they say that, do you think?
Because they couldn't see a world where I could make, and they couldn't see the volume side of things. They couldn't wrap their brain around the volume that they knew I would need in order to replace, at the time I was only making like $1 million a year. So they couldn't see the way I could get to 7 figures selling a $27 thing. Because right, they do the math and you're like, you would need hundreds of sales a day and thousands of sales a month. And that's exactly what we're doing now. Yeah,
which
so
I
we'll
want to talk about.
Yeah, but they had a vision of what they had done. I had a vision for what I wanted to do, and it was very much pioneering. Like I don't really know that many people that are running an 8-figure business off of $27 low ticket products, and very few. And so I had to really figure it out. But I knew somehow that I could do it, and I knew somehow that it was just a gut instinct thing. And so I took that leap. And shockingly, like almost replaced my income on the first or second month. So it was a very scary pivot, but I went, like, I think the second or third month of doing low ticket, I had like an $80,000 month, which was huge for me, right? Because that was about what I was doing with high ticket. And so, you know, it was call it a God thing, call it an alignment thing, whatever you want to call it. And then the business exploded because I was out of the delivery. Because when you're out of the delivery, all you need to do is focus on the sales and the marketing. And that's so scalable. And I could bring in 250 people a day and the business wouldn't break. It would just grow.
Okay, I want to reverse engineer all of this.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to personally learn from you as much as everyone listening. So you sunsetted all your high tickets.
Yeah, I phased out contracts or refunded.
Okay, wow. And then you went deep on that low ticket model. And in the first 1 to 2 months, you were making $80,000. Yeah. What were you selling?
Yep.
What levers were you pulling?
Yep.
And how did you create all of that client acquisition and demand?
Because I talk to a lot of people who want to pivot their business from high ticket to low ticket. They're burnt out. They don't like having to take a bunch of sales calls. They want to unlock a lot of time freedom that I get to have. And so one of the things I tell them that I didn't realize when I made that pivot from high ticket to low ticket is that there's so many people who have wanted to work with you, who have been in your world for several years, who are warm, who are waiting for you to launch a low ticket thing. And so when you've been charging $10,000, $30,000, $72,000, and then you drop something that's like $197, all those people that have been saying no to you on the sales calls or have been following you but couldn't afford it, they're falling over themselves to buy.
So
and I
true.
didn't think about that when I launched. I just was like, okay, I'm just going to make this pivot and hope it works. But I made all that money because for years I had been just creating these leads that couldn't buy my high ticket thing. And we just don't think about that when we're used to 9 out of 10 people saying no, or, whatever it might be, people just not being a good fit, but they like you and they like your content and they like what you stand for and they like what you teach. And then you finally release an offer that they can afford. They're so excited. And that is when I realized the thing that I had been missing that I am now obsessed with low ticket, which is the impact that I can have is so much bigger. Mm-hmm. Think about it. I used to maybe get 3 sales a month, 4 sales a month. Now I do 250 orders a day. That's 250 people a day that I get to help. And that I'm clearly very passionate about what I do and who I help. And so for me, the low ticket joy has not just been the money, although that's fabulous and I love it. It's also been the sheer volume of people that I get to help and impact. Yes.
I mean, that's what we're all about here. It's not just money, it's impact. It's making money in service of the greater good and the greater collective. And you can so feel that from you.
Yeah.
So you sold, what was the product that you took off
with? It was talking about how I was getting clients with Instagram. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And it was a great product. It was just kind of walking them through my organic funnel, what I had been doing. I'm always a really big believer that I'm never going to teach something that not just I have done myself, but I've experimented with, I've tested.
Right.
Now with every course that I release, we have students in all different industries stress test it to make sure it works really well. So our courses are extremely vetted to make sure they're going to work for everybody who buys them. And I did my own version of that with my very first one. And now, 3 years later, we have quite an extensive process for us to launch a product.
I know you do. Yeah. And actually, that's a great segue into my next question because it's like your story is so inspiring. And I love the comment you made around your perseverance and your consistency is like the secret sauce to basically creating the life of your dreams, full stop. It's really sexy to hear that you make $900,000 to $1 million a month. But what I would love to break down to people, because I'm in the space too, like how much, I know you've gotten yourself to a place where you only work a couple hours a week and we'll talk about that. But like the amount of engineering and science of funnels and lead pages and social media and organic and ads, like, can you really walk me through how you have scaled it? I mean, you've opened up your product suite. You sell how many low ticket?
I don't know, hundreds.
Right, exactly. So you have to build the product, right? Yeah. So let's maybe start with what makes a really strong low ticket offer?
That's such a good question. And I don't get asked that enough because your experience, anyone's experience in selling a high ticket is almost useless when it comes to selling a low ticket. And so a lot of people in my space see what I do and they want to make that pivot, but they're bringing their experience in selling high ticket and they can't seem to understand why the low ticket is floundering. And so I've become like a little bit of this mission, like I want to tell everybody what to do so that they do it well. In a high ticket product, it's typically covering a broader range, right? So manifesting your way to millions or like the Wealth Academy or, 7-figure business, right? There are these broad titles and then you get in, it's a lot of modules and it covers a lot of things. And the goal is like, this is all you need, or this is pretty much all you need, right? That's typically like you have a really good end-to-end experience with a high ticket product for most people.
You just described mine.
Yeah. And that's very typical. That's very, very typical. The problem with that is that won't work for a low ticket. What works for a low ticket is like 8 to 10 videos solving a very, very specific problem. So, for me, it's like how to get more sales with your Instagram stories. Whereas in a high ticket program, it might be everything related to Instagram. It might be everything related to sales. It might be everything related to organic marketing. But with a low ticket, it's as little videos as possible to achieve one specific, and like I use the word hyper specific very intentionally, problem. And so when people make the pivot from high ticket to low ticket, they struggle because they're used to filling high ticket programs with value. But in a low ticket product, you're looking to solve one burning problem in as few videos as possible. That's the value. So my students go in, they'll watch 8 videos, know exactly how to get more sales with their Instagram stories, and then they'll go post to their stories, and then they'll make 8 sales from that, and then they come back and post in my group and give me a ton of testimonials. Like that's this like beautiful cycle I've got going on where every product achieves the result it's meant to. So then I get testimonials. So then people buy more, and then there's an infinite amount of trust in that customer because they bought that one little low ticket thing. They got 8 sales from their stories. Then when I launch my next product, they're like, oh, well, I want that one too. And so that's where a lot of our just growth has come from is we have like a 60% repeat customer rate, which is very high.
That's huge.
Yeah, our industry is like 15 to 30. So we're doing at least double what our industry does. Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple more questions on the product side, and then we'll get into the marketing side. You said you have hundreds of low tickets at this point.
I think so. I mean, I know we have is 15 pages of products in the Kajabi portal, and there's like 10 pages, I think, per product, per 10 products per page. So I think like around 150, if I were to guess.
And how are you coming up with them?
Well, we have a product developer now.
Oh, you do?
So we brought someone on who he full-time helps us ideate.
But you're the visionary behind it, right? Are you ideating on what the products?
I'm out of that a lot.
Wow.
I'm still in it. Like I'm still in it, but we set a goal that this year we were going to launch 50 products. And last year we had done around 12. And so to go from 12 products to 50, that's going from 1 a month, which was very much of a push to us, to now like essentially 4 a month, a product a week.
Wow.
Which is, we knew right away, making our goals for 2026, that there's no earthly way that I'm going to be able to do that. Or even my sister Rose, who's like my right hand in the business, we weren't going to be able to do that. And so we brought on someone who had spoken at our events. He's a phenomenal guy, and he has a lot of experience specifically in creating products for Etsy, which is like 1 degree adjacent from what we do, but it's still in the low ticket digital product world. But there's a lot of harmony there.
Are you doing like customer survey data? Like how are you finding what the market wants?
That's a good question.
Sell?
That's a really good question. We just know, and I know that's not a good answer, but we just have a really good finger on the pulse of our customers. And what I will say is that what we do as a company very well, that I think a lot of people struggled, which even we struggled to do, is put what we want aside and we launch the products we know our customers want. And so sometimes that means I'm teaching on things I could give a shit about, like copywriting. People desperately needed me to launch a copywriting course. I didn't want to teach copywriting because I knew the copywriting writing good copy is very hard to teach.
It is.
And I knew that it was going to be a lot of work for me to figure out how to teach a copywriting course in a way that would actually make an impact on their checkout pages and their conversion rates. So I really didn't want to do it, but we just knew that that's what they needed. And so we did it. And so we have our finger on the pulse of our customers. And we launch what they want, even when we don't necessarily want to do it ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
So from 25 to 26, you've gone from 12 products a month to 50. You're making close to $1 million a month. This all has happened in the last couple of years.
I would say 2 years. Like this last, 2025 was huge, and 2026 is going to be even bigger. Like it's insane.
And that speaks to your marketing.
Yeah.
And your following has blown up. I mean, you just said you are almost close to 1 million
on Instagram. Yeah, 1 million on Instagram, 500,000 on YouTube, and something on TikTok, because we're not even on TikTok right now. So I told my content director, I'm like, we need like something decent on TikTok. I don't even care what it is, but I think we have like 800 followers on TikTok right now.
So that's amazing though. Yeah. Still, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your content is fire. Everyone's going to go follow you. You link it in the show notes, but let's talk about because social media is front end, right? And then we get people into our funnel and our email and checkout pages and to transact. And I'd love to dig into your notes on that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about social first and how you've been growing at that rate, what your strategy is.
Yeah.
Are you using ads?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned ads because I was about ready to say that. So about 60% of our new customers come from ads.
Amazing.
And 40% come from organic. We spend about $250,000 a month on ads, which is about $10,000 a day.
Thank you for being that transparent.
Yeah, we have if people follow me, I literally share like what I spend in my personal life. So you can go online and see like what I spend on restaurants and what I spent on clothes. Like what I pay, I just have a general like labor line item.
I think it's so empowering.
People are nosy, so it's good content, right? But like they're nosy because no one ever shares that. Like nosy doesn't have to necessarily be a negative word. Like it's the stuff I wanted when I started my business. And I don't see what I have to lose by disclosing it. I can't think of a single reason not to.
Such a good point.
I share my good months. I share my bad months. I share the months where I make $500,000 in profit and the months where I only make $200,000 in profit. Like I share it all. it's really good trust, which is a big part of my social media strategy, which we can get to. So we believe that every business owner, even the brand new ones, should be running ads.
I could not agree more.
Huge core component of
Game
our
changer.
teaching. Meta, and especially Meta with like all the AI changes that Meta has been rolling out, anyone who can publish a photo to Facebook can run ads and get sales. And what it does is it shortens the time horizon for you to get sales, which as a beginner is the momentum that you need. You run an ad, like our students will get sales within a 24 to 48 hour period.
Do you teach ads as
yes.
one of your courses?
Yes, for sure. We have several ad courses teaching different, like, because we use ads to grow on social media as well. So we have courses on that as well. And that's like a big thing. Our students they always wait too long to run ads. Newbies always wait too long to run ads. I waited too long to run ads. I bet you probably, and most people do. And so one of our big things is getting more people to run ads. And so that's one of the first things I like to share is, hey, even though we're this ginormous company with ginormous followings, 40% or 60% of our stuff still comes from ads.
And I want to also normalize, you said you spent $250,000 a month on ads, $10K a day.
Yeah.
You scaled up to that.
Exactly. Like, I started with $5,
correct,
right? And that's
same.
something we have to teach our students that, because otherwise they hear big numbers.
Yeah.
You take $5, you turn that into a $27 sale. You take some of that and then you run ads for another $5. Now you have 2 sales.
It's actually like the most fun math I could ever play. Like if you get your ads right, it's truly like money out for money in.
It's literally an ATM.
Amazing.
It's an ATM machine. Yeah, you put $1 in, you get $2.50 out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So organic is another big part of your strategy. I feel like you show up. I mean, you are one of those that's posting like multiple times a day.
Yes. What I think about when it comes to social media, and this is especially relevant for women or really any minority, is that the fact that we have access to an opportunity to reach people and grow our businesses and make money and essentially advertise for free is such a remarkable opportunity that I lose my shit when people complain about posting on social media, because it is the most ungrateful, complaining attitude. And I get that it takes consistency, so I want to have grace. But at the same time, stop complaining and realize what an opportunity you're sitting on. And you can't be bothered to pick up the phone and film your face 2 or 3 times a day. Like, that is my attitude towards it. And
Completely
it's tough love.
agree.
It's tough love. But do you understand that like in the 1930s and the 1940s and the 1950s, you would have to have access to so much capital to run commercials to locations, right?
And by the way, only men could do it because we didn't have credit cards until the 1950s.
This is exactly what I'm saying. My grandmother, when she was maybe a little younger than me, could not have gotten a credit card unless her father or her brother or her husband signed for it. And so you have access to an opportunity to get your message out, to get your content out, to get your product out. And all you have to do is film a 1-minute video and get it scheduled once a day. I'll take even 1 time a day. Like if you can't give me 2 or 3 times a day, I will take once a day. And so it is just a matter of perspective that needs to get flipped. So we realize what an amazing opportunity we have to post on social media.
Thank you for saying that. I have, in my community, I've segmented them with love into 3 different categories: the hiders, the provers, and the floaters. Floaters are like the women that I teach a lot of like feminine embodiment into business that just struggle with structure and systems and need to anchor into the reality of 3D and like actually make money. And that's how provers is my old identity. It's like we're putting all of our worth into our productivity.
Yeah.
And then majority of them are hiders, like women who are just so afraid of being seen. And what you just framed is honestly, Maria, one of the best justifications and motivations that I've ever heard. I couldn't have said it better.
Thank you.
Serious.
Well, I just think that anytime, I mean, you know this too, right? Anytime we shift into gratitude, like stuff flows, right? It's better that way. I think people hide because they have like their fears are so unrealistic. Like I'm worried to show up because what if people make fun of me, or what if people lose comments, or what if the video flops, or what, like all these different what ifs. And because I hear the same thing with my students, they're worried to show up. I've been doing this for a long time and there have been a few hateful comments, but for every 1,000 loving comments, there's a troll.
Absolutely.
I'll take that ratio any day.
Yes.
And every reel I post, we did the math because we can track how much each reel makes or each carousel makes. We have very sophisticated software, which I'm happy to talk about.
Please.
And I make around like $2,000 per Instagram reel that I publish, or per carousel that I publish. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but like that's the average. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So like I'm getting paid, like literally getting paid to post. And like my students, like we're living in this post 2016 social media era where your follower count doesn't matter. It's the content you post. So someone who has 2 followers can get a reel that has 200,000 views, just like someone that has 2 million followers. So your followers don't even really matter anymore. Sadly, as someone that has a lot of followers, I wish they mattered more than they do. But this is good news for our hiders, for those who aren't, like, you have just as good of a chance. I have to work just as hard as you do to get my content seen. So you're not off the hook for that reason either.
So good. It's so good. So you have your ad strategy running, clear on the investment. You post 3 times a day.
Yes.
And you have a sauce to how you post. I've heard you talk about this before. Can you talk about your particular formula? I'm sure it switches up.
Yes.
But like
Do you mean like with like my like how I always make sure it's vulnerability or taboo?
Yeah, like you have like a formula, like a day-to-day, because 3 posts per day, 7 days a week can feel really overwhelming. But I heard you talk about this actually on a different podcast. And I thought it was so brilliant the way you've segmented it to just keep yourself accountable and consistent.
So Instagram is my big one. It's my, meat and potatoes. And we're posting 4 times a day on Instagram right now.
Oh my God, 4 times a day.
Yes, so we're posting 4 times a day.
Get it, girl.
We have a content director. Oh my God, he's so amazing. He's literally starting Monday. And I don't want to say poached him from another company because I don't know that that's accurate. But let me just say it this way. He decided to work with us in January and couldn't start until April because he was honoring other commitments.
Got it.
And I can't wait for him to get started because he's been like the content director for this massive Instagram account. And so I think when he comes on board, we're going to be posting even more than 4 times a day on Instagram. So stay tuned. But this is the current schedule. In the morning we have, so it's 2 reels, 2 carousels is like every day. 7 a.m. is a reel that's basically just a straight CTA, straight pitch. The way we pitch is very strategic. So I'm never going to say like, buy my course, invest here. Like I never use pitching language. What I do is highlight the pleasure points and kind of stop talking. And then in that silence, people want to learn more. And I don't think enough people realize that you actually kill the sale when you link in bio, you kill the sale when those pitches kill the sale. You highlight the pleasure points of whatever it is, the problem you help them solve, and then you just shut up.
So everyone's going to go run to your Instagram now and see all the content you posted at 7 a.m. and take notes.
Yes, please do. Please just literally copy and paste.
I'm obsessed with you. Your generosity is so beautiful.
I like talking about this.
Continue.
So the noon is a carousel.
Okay.
And it's typically a nurture. Those are the ones that like this tax one that's blowing up and getting myself boiled alive is like, was a nurture one. And it's basically just Maria's diary. What's going on in Maria's life with nothing shared. So that could be some of the things I go through as a single mom. That could be some of the things I go through as a business owner. That could be some of the things I go through as someone that had to pay over $1 million in taxes. Like it's just me sharing what I think of as what are the things in our industry that are taboo that no one talks about. I'm going to talk about it. And so I actively look for the things we're not allowed to talk about. And I purposely talk about it because I think A, you need to talk about it, but B, it gets me good engagement.
Well, yeah, it's the strategic power of being provocative. I often say be loved or be hated, but don't be ignored. It's like one of my favorite quotes. Have a point of view.
Yes.
Be willing to trigger people.
Yes. And that's hard. That was really, at least I can speak for me, that was really difficult. I was really worried to be hated. I'm a born people pleaser. I'm Midwest girl, right? I grew up in Ohio. Like we love to please everybody. And so I had to teach myself that it was safe to be hated. And it's okay. Like it's actually, you're safe, you're fine. Your physical body is fine. And I'm so regulated now. Frankly, going through my divorce is what regulated me because it's like regulate or die.
Yeah.
Regulate or die.
Die.
Yeah. And so
I need t-shirts.
Yeah, truly. I don't know. Truly. So the noon is nurture. That's a carousel. And then same thing for 3 p.m. What's been working really well for me at 3 p.m. now is sharing my past, my story. So I've been talking a lot about the fact that I was homeschooled. I grew up in a very religious family. I'm the oldest of 9 kids. Like we weren't allowed to wear jeans. Like we had skirts past our knees, like very conservative, like ultra conservative background. And I'm very grateful to my parents. Like we have a fairly good relationship. And so it's never coming from a place of attacking it. It's just observing how that made me who I am today. Sure. And frankly, a lot of it was amazing. And that is like me being homeschooled is one of the reasons I'm an entrepreneur. I'm okay to be different. I'm a freaking nerd. Like, it's, like I liked being homeschooled. I'm going to homeschool Ellie.
I've heard you talk about that. It's like it was a competitive advantage.
It was such a competitive advantage. I have been free of a lot of the things I see my peers have to work through, which you totally can. A lot of my students do. But being a homeschooler and being raised to even just dress the way I was asked to dress, you stand out, you're looked at. And so you get used to it. So that's 3 p.m. and that's been doing really well. So it's a lot of just like nurturing, trust building. And then at 5 p.m. is typically what we call like a studio reel, which is like, we'll cut clips up. This. Yeah, it'll be a clip from this or other podcasts.
Figured.
Or I also do in my studio, I will just do like CTA, call to action ones, where it's like, I just made a list of 150 Instagram hooks to help you get more followers. Comment hook below, like literally just straight pitches on those. And those do really well. Those actually get me the most followers. The studio reels, people trust people with microphones,
yes,
right?
True that.
And so we can go into that. I have a whole thing on that, but those give me the most followers. And then the other content nurtures and monetizes.
So let's go into the nurture and monetizing content, because you're driving people from your social, and it sounds like you're on YouTube, but let's just stick with like the Instagram play, into the DMs to sign up for something or go to a landing page.
Straight to a checkout page.
Straight to a checkout page.
Yes, that's a huge one. Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Because you skipped the landing page, the sales page with all the education. It's all right there on the checkout page.
People from our world who've been doing it for a while have all these things that they think nurture people, warm them up. But what I like to say is that the things that we think warm them up, the things we think nurture, actually act as obstacles to the money. So your webinar is an obstacle to the money. Your 7-day email sequence is an obstacle to the money. Your video sales letter is an obstacle to the money. Send them straight to the checkout page. That's what I do.
Okay. Let's dissect this.
Yeah.
Because I love it. It's very counterculture of you.
Yes,
And
people are very surprised.
But it makes sense. And it only makes sense if you know, well, a couple of things. You're doing all of the right things. You're nurturing the relationship on social by showing your face, sharing your story.
But I would argue
vulnerable.
that a good checkout page, you don't even need to be, they don't even know me. A good checkout page, like our checkout pages, even from ads, like it's a cold ad.
So you must be getting your checkout pages optimized.
And the way you optimize it is with a good low ticket product that solves a very specific problem. Because people have a solution to the problem. They don't give a shit who's teaching them. They just want a solution to that problem. And so if you can articulate, this is the burning problem that you've been struggling with, and I'm going to specifically teach you to solve that, and you only have to pay $27 for it, it's a no-brainer.
It's my follow-up question, though. Do you feel like that strategy of that customer cycle only works best for low ticket?
Because if it's anything under $1,000.
Anything under $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I break up. Anything over $1,000 is high ticket. Anything under $1,000 is low. That's how I think of it, at least.
Got it. Great. So let's go back to the checkout page, because I know we're not actually looking at it.
Yeah.
But if there are any specific like bells, whistles, optimizations, placements.
There are actually. So the most important one is you get something that's like you've probably seen it, the little pop-ups that say so-and-so just bought this thing 10 minutes ago or whatever.
Yeah.
That makes a tremendous difference. We'll be like, why is this page not converting? And then we'll be like, we forgot to install the use proof on it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
it's
a big
so
one.
Fun about like marketing and science, little tactical tools that just make all the difference.
That's
and I'm
a must-have.
Yes. Okay.
What I find with checkout pages, and this is what I teach my students, is people click away from your checkout page and don't buy, especially in something under $1,000, when they aren't clear on what they're going to get. Like really clear, right? Like we forget that we're selling digital products. We're selling pixels. So you better do a damn good job of articulating why they should get those pixels on their computer or their phone. And if you don't do that, they're not going to buy. And most people don't do that, so they don't buy. And then the other thing is urgency. They need to know not just what I'm going to get, but why do I need to get it right now? Low ticket world, that's the world of impulse buys. That's the world of like, hell yeah, I'm in and I'm going to fill my checkout information out. And so we have like 9 urgency angles that I teach, and the best pages have like 4 or 5 urgency angles. I'll let you get away with just one, but the more you have, the more they're like, oh, I can't click away from this page until I buy. That's how we want them feeling when they're on that checkout page.
And how did you come to learn all of this? For
stupid trial and error.
Really?
Yes. Just like I experiment all the time with everything. And I tell my students, like 9 out of 10 experiments are disasters. I lose money, I lose time, I lose years off my life. But that's how, like it's Edison with the light bulb. He's like, oh, I know 9,999 ways to not make a light bulb. That's how I feel about marketing. I know thousands of angles that don't work. I know thousands of pricing structures that don't work. I know thousands of deliveries that have struck. Like I've done it all. Memberships. Shit, I can't stand them. Like I have opinions on all of it, but like, cause I've experimented.
Yeah.
So
what's your opinion on I have so many questions for you, but let's
memberships. Okay. Yeah. I'll give you my quick soapbox issue with memberships. The average membership life cycle is on average, some are better, but on average it's like 90 days. It's 3 billing cycles on average. You know, if you're like a standard around $100 a month, right? But in general, even at like higher ticket things, it's around 3 to 4 months, right? So you have all this work. People are reluctant to sign up for a membership. Like they're becoming more and more reluctant to sign up for a subscription, right? And then you have this insane pressure of delivery to keep the customers. You're trying to get your you're trying to get, what is the word for it? I'm blanking on what the word for it is, but you're basically like your turnover rate. There's like
attrition.
You're yeah, exactly. You're trying to like make sure that stays low. So you are working like 10 times harder for someone who statistically is likely to leave after 3 to 4 months. What I tell people to do is stop doing a membership. Let's say you are charging like $100 per month. Charge $300. That's essentially the same lifetime value that you were going to have either way, but give them lifetime access. So put a whatever you were going to put in. Most people who have memberships have like an unbelievable library of stuff already. They get lifetime access to that. The conversion rate on someone to pay $100 a month or $300 for lifetime access, it's insane. You convert so much more. You're getting so many more sales per the amount of people going to that checkout page. And the value perception for the customer is so much higher because they're getting lifetime access. They would have quit after, like it's the same thing, but it's how it's positioned that makes it so valuable.
What do you think about having a live component to your membership?
You can, but it's a bonus. Like I have a Facebook group where you pay $200 and you get lifetime access to the group. I should be charging more for it, honestly, because at this point we have like 3,000 successful students in it. So it's really good. I just go live and answer questions for a month, but there's no obligation on my end. So once a month I pop on, I can stop tomorrow if I decide I want to stop to do that.
And you do it whenever you want.
I do it whenever. I schedule it as I please.
When you have time.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. I want to go back to your product, your whole sales journey. Instagram, we got sales pages. Yeah. They sign up, they enroll, that you have their email. Do you nurture in your funnels? Do you have like that all built out?
I don't think I do. I send emails 3 times a day.
Okay.
But I don't think of it as like nurture/pitch. Every email is going to nurture and every email is going to pitch.
So every email,
but like even my pitches give you value is how I think about it. Like you extract value from even the way that I pitch. There's value in that to you. And so in the morning, it's what you would consider a more traditional nurturing. It's just, hey, here's what's going on in my life. And I went to, like, it's just so whatever I'm feeling like talking about. There's literally no structure to it. I just sit down and like write what I'm going to say.
You write your own emails.
I make like right now, because my content director hasn't started, I'm doing like 90% of my Instagram content, 100% of my emails, and 100% of YouTube. Like
and you still only work a couple hours a week, which we're going to talk to.
Yeah, I work Tuesdays and Fridays.
We're going to come back to that.
So I send an email at 7 a.m., pretty nurturing, but there's a PS pitch, and then a 1 p.m. straight pitch, like I created a course on copywriting, click here to buy it. Like it's straight up pitch, and then a straight up pitch for 5 p.m. So it's 2 pitches, 1 nurture. And each email on average makes me around $1,500 to $1,700 because we track that too.
How many subscribers do you have?
Almost 1 million.
Wow.
Yeah, I think maybe 600,000, 700,000. I don't know. I'd have to ask my sister Rose. She knows that number. But
and you have,
take a guess.
What's your email software? Do you recommend?
Active Campaign. I spend thousands of dollars though.
Yes, yeah. So
but to be fair, let's say I spend $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month on Active Campaign. I make that in 3 days.
Well, it's any industry, money in, money out. Yeah. You're an online information-based business. Truly. Your best vehicle. It's like you're not stocking a warehouse full of products.
True. It's true.
You're spending thousands of dollars on an email software because it's a main vehicle for how you reach your customers.
Exactly.
I mean, full stop.
See, I shouldn't be complaining. You're right. Yes. No, you're right. You're right.
That's how I think about it.
It's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
Like I run my business online. I use Active Campaign as well. I think it is the best.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get them to be a sponsor on my show. So thanks for talking about it.
There you go, guys.
But like
Active Campaign.
Truly the best software you can use. It's the most sophisticated, and it truly lets you understand the intelligence of your community, and it generates revenue.
Yeah, I mean, you can do all kinds of segmenting with it and tagging, all of that. We have tons of email automations. Again, like I have my sister who has people who works for her. Like that's where it's starting to get to the point where I don't know everything going on, and I don't know, like there's people on the team who know more than I do.
How big is your team?
You know, can I tell you, we just went through a huge hiring stage, and I sent a Slack to the whole channel, and I almost shit myself when I saw it was going to 23 people. Wow. I was like, what? Because I'm so used to being like it was me by myself until 2020. And then we brought on 3 people who are still with us. There's people that like,
says everything about you.
Yes, we have a very high, people on Team Maria only leave when we ask them to go. No one quits because people don't want to leave. Sometimes we do have to fire people, and I'm not shy about that. I don't mind at all. Like if you're getting to the point where Maria's bothered enough, you've been cruising for bruising for a long time. No.
Give me some of those quotes. I'm such an empath. Even when people suck and have to go, it's
a loving act to release them.
It is.
And it's a loving act to your team members.
And to yourself.
And to myself. Exactly. I see keeping on a subpar team member is one of the most disrespectful things you can do to the other people that work with you that bring your A game. So I have no problem letting people go. At all, because I'm like, we give them opportunities. It's not like you're shocked, but it's, I don't even think we do too. We're very communicative and we're very good in our hiring process and expectations are very clear. So if you can't do it,
you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I love that authority. It's really, it was like a rite of passage for me back. I've been running business for 18 years.
Yeah.
And the first person I ever had to fire, it felt like a rite of passage.
Yeah,
it was super painful.
Yes.
I've gotten a lot better at it over time, but you're absolutely right. People don't not know. It shouldn't come as a surprise.
And I can't speak to every female founder, but I feel like in general, female founders are much more forgiving, much more empathetic, empathetic, as you said. Yeah. And so I think that if we need, and I can't speak for every woman, right? Everyone's different, but I feel in general with all of the women that I work for, these are people that should have been fired 6 months ago. They should have been gone a long time ago. And so you're okay. You gave them plenty of chances. You were off the hook, permission granted. Have the tough conversation. You want to be a founder, you want to be a leader, have the balls to fire someone.
Yeah. It's such an activation. Yeah. It really, really is. It's an upgrade. So, okay. I love that we broke this down. Thank you for explaining the whole way you've engineered. I'm sure there's so many more things we could hear from you and getting into the true nitty gritty, but I just wanted to normalize the $900,000 a month top line revenue. It's an operation.
Yeah.
And it's a ton of trial and error. Like you said, it's a ton of systems, it's people, it's investment, it's tech, it's strategy. And it doesn't come overnight. There's no hacks, right? And you've really mapped that out. Now at the same time, you've built this big, beautiful team. And I've like I said, I came prepared, Maria. I've been studying your stuff. You work 2 days a week and you have this philosophy that founders, entrepreneurs in general, are doing so many things they don't need to be doing.
Yes.
So what are those things?
Yeah.
And what do they need to be doing?
Well, you're going to get me on a soapbox with this one too. So
I'm here for all of the soapboxes.
I feel like many founders who haven't yet made the jump from 7 figures to 8 are making what's the word? Productivity decisions or working decisions or day-to-day job decisions based on their ego. You want to feel needed. You want to feel like you are the savior of the business. You want to feel like you're the required one. You're needed. And that misguided sense of ego is keeping you at the level you're at, because actually you're not needed and you're not important. And that's a good thing for the business. You're throttling your baby. It's your baby and you love it and you're suffocating it and you're being a helicopter parent. And it is so hard. So I just want to validate that because I am not perfect at that. I still, I don't even know if reformed, I'm a control freak, and I'm working on it and I'm trying to get better. But my instinct is to micromanage the colors of a checkout page button. That's my instinct. That's where I come from. But I was forced to overcome my ego when I had Ellie and I became a single mom and I wanted to be with her. It was a core value of mine that I was going to be essentially a stay-at-home mom to her. And yet I refused to compromise the abundance and the career that I wanted. I just made a decision to the universe that I'm having both and you go fuck yourself. I'm having both. Damn it. I'm going to do it. And so I realized that I had to stop doing a lot of things. And it wasn't like I was a genius and I just instinctively was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to quit. I just had to stop doing 80% of what I was doing. I just couldn't do it anymore. All the things that I thought were important became, I was unable to do it because I needed to feed my baby, literally feed my baby, right? Mm-hmm. And so then yet the business kept going and I kept making money and I kept making money and then I kept making more money. And then I scaled further than I'd ever scaled before. And then I doubled it and then I doubled it again. And so that taught me that all those things that I used to do at 7 figures that I thought were important, my peers who are still at 7 figures, they're still doing them, except they didn't have a horrible divorce when their baby was 6 months old and had to upend their life on purpose the way I did. I'm grateful for that because that created a lot of company upheaval that I don't know how I would have gotten without that, but it made me realize that pretty much I can confidently say 80 to 90% of what most people are doing who aren't at 8 figures or like $1 million a month, you don't need to be doing it. And if you stop doing it, nothing would break, nothing would happen, the world wouldn't end. And then you could be freed up to put your time towards sales and marketing, which is what would actually scale your business.
Wow.
So meetings, to give you an example, like meetings, we are a 0 meetings company. We don't have meetings. People spend so much time on meetings that could literally be a 2-second Slack. And so I can't physically be on meetings because most of the time I'm with Ellie. And so it's just a company policy that we don't have maybe once a month. I have to sit down there and update Zoom and hop onto a meeting. But like for the most part, we're a 0 meetings company and we all collectively get more done. Everyone hates meetings.
Yes.
But I tell my people, like even in your delivery, you think that meeting, that weekly meeting where you have with your client, it's not productive. It's not actually really helping your client either. You think it's part of your delivery, so you have to do a weekly call or you have to do this, that your client, no, that your customers actually need to not be listening to you on Zoom and they need to be out there implementing and doing their own marketing experimentations. So don't just get you off meetings. Don't just get your team members off meetings. Get your freaking clients off meetings too. They should not be sitting around these hour-long Zoom calls that has a very low chance of implementation of anything. It makes you feel productive, again, the ego, and no one's actually getting any marketing done or sales done, which is actually what drives the needle forward in your business. So that's my soapbox.
No,
I warned you.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
It's so good to hear. It's so refreshing. It's so inspiring. It's so needed. I think what I want to know now is Tuesdays, Fridays.
Yes.
What, as the 8-figure CEO mindset, what are you doing and how are you spending that time?
It's a very good question. What you see on most days when I'm at the beach with Ellie and I'm living this like luxurious laid back life is the exact opposite of that. So she was with her dad at like 8 a.m. to Tuesday to 8 a.m. Wednesday. So like a literal 24-hour period. And that looks like a manic cartoon of a time lapse because of everything I'm getting done in that 24-hour period. Usually either on a Tuesday or on a Friday, I have a speech somewhere out of state or in state, or I have a podcast appearance. So usually in that week, one of the days can't be like a sitting at my desk working
today,
day.
It's Friday.
Exactly. Today is Friday. That's exactly what we're doing today. I usually do them on Tuesdays or Fridays. And so one of the days is an appearance somewhere. Those are very good for content, whether it's content with a stage and with people listening, which is great social proof, or it's content like this that are really good clips. That's typically a Friday or typically a Tuesday. That's one of my days. And that's usually because of the way I travel, I have to wake up early, go do my appearance and come back same day. And I do that because I don't want to be away from, I have a nanny that I could use. I just never do. She's actually brought Ellie with me to this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, it's my first work trip with Ellie.
That's beautiful.
And we're testing it out and it has been sick. I think I'm bringing her to every work trip. It has been awesome. So after this, they're actually going to pick me up and we're going to go do like some candy thing. There's something you can do where you can make like candy.
Probably.
I don't know. Kelly, my nanny found it.
Nashville's a great city for kids.
We're going to go do something together after. So that's a cool new unlock. Typically what that looks like is I'd fly in, do the appearance or do the speech and then fly out. Like that's what I'm doing next week. I'm speaking at Natalie's event. I'm flying into Austin, going to speak at her event. And then me and my videographer are flying back.
And is your videographer capturing like B-roll? Because they're creating a ton of content besides the camera content.
Yes. So he's the new content director that I talked about. So we were just discussing this morning. He's going to set up some cameras to get like horizontal professional stuff. And then he's going to be like bopping around with an iPhone, just kind of getting everything else. And I sent him my slide deck. So we've already discussed like, these are going to be the clips probably that will like, so look for them when I say them. So we do a lot of that kind of prep work.
Great.
And then what I do, on the Tuesdays, and pretty much everything that I do can be categorized under the umbrella of content creation. So Tuesdays, that's when I sit and write all my emails. That's when I sit and create all my Instagram content. That's when I plan like for shoots or I respond to emails about speaking, like other speeches I'm having. Everything that I do is directly related to content creation in some way. And that's what drives our ad creatives. And that's what drives our Instagram, like organic content or YouTube.
Because you are the brand.
Because I'm the brand. It's the marketing. I think that people do things that feel productive to them, but don't actually drive the bottom line. Eyeballs on your checkout page is what actually makes more sales for you. And so if you're in a low ticket business, your whole reason for existence is to get more eyeballs on that traffic page. And that's how you need to be, or on the checkout page. And that's how you need to be thinking.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
So a lot of women listening are in the process of going from 7 to 8.
Yes.
A lot of women are in the very beginning of scaling their business, wanting to even like leave their corporate job and go into entrepreneurship. And you have such codes at such a high level of entrepreneurship at this stage in your career, but you started from the bottom. Now you're here, like we said at the beginning. And if you were talking to a woman who's like really building her platform, formulating her model, putting herself out there for the first time, I'm very much here for the way think about the woman, the identity you want to be, and then start showing up as her. And you, Maria, has just painted a beautiful picture of like the ideal 8-figure CEO consciousness. And we should start thinking and operating as her now to the best of our ability. But there is seasons of build and there is seasons of grind and the testing and the learning and all of the things that you have done. Like, I loved what you said, like 99% of the time I failed and
really
that's really where I found it.
Yeah.
But a lot of women who listen to my show are, at the early stages of building their entrepreneurial business. Many of them are in the online world, coaching, consulting, services based, but want to really scale their own platforms. What would you say to her? Like, what would you say is the most important thing or things for her to think about right now?
A couple of things, even just looking at my own journey. We didn't talk about it at all, but getting out of that marriage was so important.
I wanted to ask you about that.
It was, there's a lot we can talk about. I'm super comfortable to talk about it. I'm very loyal. And so I stayed until it was literally impossible to. And for me, for the good of everybody, it was just not a good anymore. And so what I didn't expect and didn't realize in that moment was how much of my energy and capacity and joy came back to me. Let's say it that way, came back to me later. And that energy going into a vacuum gets to be redistributed. And so I redistributed it into my daughter and into my business. And it's not an accident that my business started scaling when I was free of that. It is super correlated. And so I'm not telling people, get out of a marriage or get out of a relationship, but just pay attention to where your relational energy is going.
Beautiful
Are the
advice.
people in your life adding or subtracting? And pay attention. Just observe. You don't even need to do anything at that stage except just observe and see. Because I wish I had done that sooner. I think I was plateaued for a really long, like it was plateau.
Right. Wow.
And so you can literally see it in my revenue data. That's the first thing is pay attention to the energy in your life because it matters a lot, I think. And then the other thing is you can't be a consumer and a creator. And so people expect that I'm going to sit there and doom scroll and spend an hour on Instagram or an hour on Netflix. And yet I will have the brain capacity to joyfully create content every day. You can't do both. And so you really have to sit and think about, is this Netflix show worth my dreams? Is doom scrolling people's TikToks worth my dreams? It's not. I don't think that you can do both. And I think when people say, oh, I'm really burnt out. I tried posting a lot. I'm burnt out. Yeah, you're burnt out because now you're spending 4 hours a day on Instagram. 3 of them are you scrolling, right? And so I don't pay attention to how you consume. And I seek in all areas of my life to be a creator, not a consumer. So when I switched from Netflix watching to painting, it was such a joy. Like I paint now a lot and it's such a joy. When I try to give to my friends rather than take from my friends, it's a joy. And so in all areas of my life, I look to be a creator and I try to avoid consumption. Even in like the apartment that I live in, it's so minimal. The clothes I buy are they're reused clothes. Like I try to be moderately anti-consumption because I think that there's so much joy in the creation and I think you can't do both. And so if you want more of the benefits that come from being a creator, make choices that align with that.
What did you learn about keeping promises to yourself?
Oh, you must have seen some of my content. I don't know, maybe not. I think for me, I tell this to people specifically when it comes to being able to create content or just any consistency muscle. But also when I was able to persevere through those first few years of business when I was making $63 and then, $350, I had a habit of keeping my word to myself. And that's what got me through the dark, hard times especially in the first few years of my business. I told myself I'm going to be a millionaire before I'm 30. And I didn't have any financial evidence that I was going to do that. But I had evidence that when I said I was going to wake up and go to the gym, I went to the gym. I had evidence that if I said I was going to turn in something, I was in college, right? So I'm going to turn in the paper on Wednesday. I turned the paper in on Wednesday. And so I had a habit of keeping my word to myself. And so I trusted myself when I said I was going to be a millionaire by 30. And I literally turned 30 and hit a millionaire status that month. Like it was the same 30-day period. And so I'm living that now because I'm not dating right now because I'm waiting till my divorce is finalized. It's been ongoing for 3 years. And so I feel very convicted to not date until my divorce is finalized. Like I don't owe him that loyalty at all, but I owe the marriage. I take it really seriously. And yet I want 4 more kids. and I'm 31. And so the math is like not mathing for me, right? I mean, it can, but like the temptation is to panic and worry about that outcome the way I could have panicked and worried about, oh, am I going to actually be a millionaire? People obsess over the outcome. And so I could be sitting here like, oh my God, am I going to have more kids? Am I going to get married? I can't even date right now. Like I could be sitting here in scarcity in this moment with that new life thing that I want. But I'm not like that. I'm going to keep my word to myself. I said I wasn't going to date until my divorce was finalized. I'm honoring that. And I have so much trust in myself at this stage that I know that if I can build an 8-figure business, which is statistically impossible as a female founder, like it's something like 0.04% of female founders hit 8 figures, then I can find a magical, lovely husband and have 4 more magical, amazing kids. And I'm not worried about it. And so I think keeping your word to yourself has such a trickle down effect that you don't realize. You think, oh, I'll skip the gym. It's not a big deal, but it's a really big deal.
You're a big deal, Maria.
Well, thank you.
It's amazing to have you.
Thank
here.
you.
I could talk to you all day.
Well, you ask great questions. Thank you. You're very good at interviewing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I was excited to have you, and I really went deep on you, and I've been going deep on you for a minute, and I'm so glad I got to go deep with you in person. I'm sure we could talk for hours. Maybe I'll have you back for a part 2. I get to spend more time with you this weekend anyway.
Yeah, I'm so
tomorrow.
excited for this week.
But just a few final quick-fire questions for you. We're a bit woo over here, so we're going to start with some practical. Are you a reader?
I read constantly.
I feel like that tracks.
I'm a homeschooled nerd. Of course, I read.
Incredible. So, do you have a favorite business book that you've read and a favorite spiritual book or personal development book that you've read?
Okay, so business. I'm really glad you asked this because there's a book there's a book every entrepreneur should read, which is called Ready, Fire, Aim.
Oh, wow.
By Michael Masterson. He breaks down every stage of business, 0 to $1 million, $1 million to 10, 10 to 50, and 50 to 100 million. And I'm at stage 10 to 50 right now. I follow it like it's the word of the Lord and I don't deviate from it at all. And that's why I've prospered. Like I really believe that.
I'm reading that book, babe.
It is. I cannot recommend it enough.
Ready,
it will tell you
Aim.
exactly what to do to get from 1 to 10. Follow it perfectly. And then honestly, a spiritual book. I'll do 2. I think for me, the Bible, I'm a person of faith and I really just I think the Bible has so much practical wisdom and wisdom for wealth. Like I'm very anti-debt. I'm very truly believe that debt, like the borrower is slave to the lender, that's from the Bible. A wise man leaves an inheritance to his children. That's why I'm not quitting work yet. Like I haven't left an inheritance for my children yet. And so I'm not done.
That's why you're not rich on Instagram.
I'm not rich yet on Instagram. I'm like, God, people coming for me. But no, my faith has been something that has sustained me through this last 3 years. And I was very anti-religious for a decade before that. So coming from my background, I was anti-religious for a decade. And then I've refound God in the most beautiful way. And I go to church every Sunday and no one knows who I am. And a lot of times I'm getting recognized in public a lot now. And so it's nice to go to church and I'm nobody. I just sit in the pew and I'm nobody. It's just me and God and the peace that I get and the way that the weight of the world is lifted off it's intoxicating. I want to go to church more than once a week. It's amazing. So I have to say the Bible for me, just from the many things I've gone, not just from the Bible, but my relationship with God. And then I think very practically a more spiritual leaning book that a lot of people should read is called The Big Leap.
I love that book.
By Gay Hendricks. And it's just, people self-sabotage. People at the 6-figure level and the 7-figure level, they're sabotaging left and right and up and down. Like you just see their interpersonal issues ruining their business and throttling their business. And they haven't learned how to allow layers of happiness, like abundance of happiness. And so they experience a win in one area and they sabotage in the other. And Gay Hendricks talks about that in The Big Leap. And so I think a lot of people should read that book as well.
I'm obsessed with that book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
It really reframed my entire trajectory in my career, to be frank. Okay, provocative question.
Yes.
Do you believe in extraterrestrials?
I don't think there's any reason why I couldn't. I haven't thought about that question, but I don't know why. I think about that from like a Christian perspective. Like, why do we think we're the only species that somehow Jesus came to? Like that's a little presumptuous of us. I'm totally open to it. Yeah.
Okay. I love that answer.
The universe is big. It's kind of weird to think that we were the only people.
It's actually bigger than big. It's infinite.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
never ending.
It's probably more statistically possible that we aren't the only ones. So
Correct.
I think probably I'd have to say That's a good question.
I am an extraterrestrial and we can talk more about that offline. So you have met one. You mentioned God, you mentioned Jesus, and a lot of people answer this question in this direction. I believe that God means it's such an intimate relationship. Yeah. It's like our own definition, and we leave it, we find it again. Yeah. I'm like hashtag God is cool again. Yeah. Like it's really in the mainstream, and I'm here for it. But I'm wondering if do you have like a particular angel or like ancestor or spirit guide that you feel a relationship with?
Yeah,
beyond?
that's interesting. Lot there. I think for me, so I was raised Catholic, and I stepped away from the Catholic Church for 10 years, and was very anti-Catholic, not just anti-religion, but like specifically anti-Catholic. But it has been such a joy for me to come back to Catholicism. Like it is kind of trending, actually. I didn't know that. But it is kind of coming back into the mainstream media or just mainstream, like we're more aware of it. Half my TikToks are Catholic TikToks now. And there's a person that there's a saint, Saint Joseph. And he was the stepfather of Jesus. He was the husband of Mary, who was the mother of Jesus. And he's what I look for in my next spouse. Like, he was a stepdad. He treated the mother of Jesus with such respect. He was so loyal. He was so, traditionally he's known as so loyal and so quiet. And so I guess a spiritual figure that I speak to or think about or talk about would probably have to be him. He just resets my standard for what I want in a man. And just that there are men like that out there, which obviously me going through what I went through, I'm like, oh, men suck. And then I'm like having to come away from that. And so I think I would have to answer, St. Joseph.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Final question for you, babe. I speak a lot about the new earth in my work.
Okay.
The new earth is a consciousness, a reality, a dimension, if you will, that is here right now, that is rooted in love, that is rooted in possibility, that is rooted in limitless supply, infinite abundance for all. And it's very antithetical to a different paradigm, which I call the 3D, which is rooted in fear, which is what most people think is real, which is rooted in scarcity and survival and competition.
Yeah, and like if you win, I lose.
Me versus you, polarity, separation consciousness versus like unity consciousness. And it's a place I believe women like you are actually living.
That's interesting.
So my last question for you is, as that lands, what does it mean to you to be a co-creator of the new earth right now?
Well, it's so interesting. See, this is the thing. I think that I channel a lot of stuff I don't have words for. So I know about this much of the metaphysical and I channel it about this much. And so
I can see that.
It's interesting to hear you describe what I've thought. And I'll explain how I think about it if that's helpful.
Please, yes.
I think that we don't understand the brain at all. And I think that we don't understand consciousness at all. And I think that people say things like manifesting isn't real. And it's like, well, I've manifested everything in my life. And so I think that just like we didn't understand the law of gravity and an apple went up and it came down, I think that there's also a reality that we don't understand yet that I can tap into and bring things into life. And so it sounds like a little bit about what you're thinking about. But I think it's not understood. I think that we're just ahead of the curve. I think that you project us out another couple thousands of years. And I hope more people understand this. All I know is I do create things and I am a co-creator. And it's actually like Christian people have a problem with it. And I'm more in the Christian circle and they have such a problem with it. But I'm like, it's actually very biblical to be like Jesus says, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. If you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move a mountain. Like there's so much evidence that we are tapping into something that we don't understand yet. And it's tangible, it's real. And even people like my mother who are super like anti it, like sometimes they're like, oh, that was spooky. Like I can get you like people who are like very skeptical to see it in myself. And so, yeah, I think that I think you have words for something that I don't have words for, but I feel what you're talking about and I tap into what you're talking about. You just have better, more labels for it than I do. It's just, I just have the sense of like, I create things and there it is.
Can I reflect something to you?
Yeah.
I think we speak the same language. We just have different expressions, words, embodiments of it, but it's the same mission, which is taking the channel that you are, the channel that I am, the codes and the gifts that you have, the codes and gifts that I have, and spreading them with so much service and love and true passion, which you clearly are like the walking embodiment of, to help humanity, AKA your students, my clients, rise and remember how limitless they are. Right? To me,
don't disagree with that at all. Yeah.
And it takes women like you and I think every single one of us is available to be that conduit.
Yes.
Absolutely. We just have different trajectories where we get a little bit maybe more insight or courage earlier on. So we become a leader, we go first. But then women can step up and they can go first for the women that they touch and they serve. And we all have that, honestly, I believe, responsibility.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for me, what my gift is is practical. Like I take things that are so complicated and I have such a strength to like boil it down and get to like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2. And so I sometimes get lost with some of my peers who are, you know, very deep in the metaphysical. I'm like, this all sounds amazing. I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds awesome. And so I think that like, maybe that's what like my gift is just taking these things. Like all I want is for women to make an extra, like really, I always say like, I don't want to help a few people make millions of dollars. I want to help millions of people make a few extra $1,000s a month. Like that I know for sure. That's what I was put on this earth for. And some people who make more than a few extra $1,000s a month, they do go on to like full and total abundance. I am hyper focused on that first step. Like if I can get someone to make her first dollar online, it's all over from there. Like, so that's my like hyper focus. Yeah.
You're doing it, girl.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're changing the world. It was an honor to have you.
Thank you. So thank you so much for having me. I don't often get such a great interviewer. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
I received that. Thank you. It was a joy to
Yeah.
have you. I could, again, talk to you forever. More where that came from.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.